All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
and Talatonga and the MFTs. So hold on, there was a lot of notes in this show tonight because there was a lot of segments. Even though we had at least what I think it was like 4 matches. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We actually had 5 matches tonight on SmackDown, and to be honest with you, with 5 matches, they were lengthy, good matches, and still they had a lot of time for promos. So I really hope that for the future that they can actually keep it being a 3 hour show versus it being a 2 hour show. Because if it's a 2 hour show, I can only imagine how they're going to try and cram some things in. But leave it to TKO. They're going to do what they do. But after we get out of the commercial break with that, oh, I gotta backtrack. Okay, I said I wasn't gonna talk about all the promos, but Jacob Fatu was dropping some fire lines, and it sucks that he was able to say some truths to the Usos, but it also sets it up because I can only imagine how the Bloodline storyline is gonna be. But he goes to Jacob. Well, not he goes to Jacob. Jacob goes to Jay and tells him how, to be honest with you, you ain't never beat Roman Reigns. And that can only sting for the Yeet Man, Jay Uso. But and then he comes after Jimmy, and it's just like he's saying a lot of true things. But the thing is that if he loses this match, he has to acknowledge his tribal chief, which we acknowledge our tribal chief. Okay, so the first match of the night, is Tiffany Stratton and Kiana James. And in that match, it was a pretty solid match for Kiana James. She had a lot of good spots in that match. Tonight really wasn't a botch night for SmackDown, so that made the viewing of the show a pretty good show. But I see that they're pitting an angle where that Julia and Kiana James are going to have to find a way to separate, and Kiana, actually gets a actual women's solo run on her own versus having to be somebody's manager. So I don't know if they kept her as a manager. A new wave of dismissals is ready to begin. I can see it, and with those new wave of dismissals, I got a couple names I would love to throw in the fire, but I'm pretty sure a couple of my co-hosts would be upset if I threw some names out there. But I'll let them live and be great tonight. Triple H crown, but Kiana James actually held her own against Tiffany Stratton, and but all in all, Tiffany Stratton won the match. So I can see them splitting them up. And to be honest, that wouldn't be bad because, in my opinion, Julia really needed a little bit more time on NXT. Because with her and Stephanie coming in at the same time, Stephanie was way hotter and way better. And them both coming up at the same time was probably a detriment to her career versus it being a help. But hopefully they can rectify that situation because Julia really is a great in-ring talent. So then we cut to the backstage, and they are in the viewing area for the Gingerbread Man, and a lot of scenes, a lot of vignettes tonight featured the Gingerbread Man. Rest in peace, Gingerbread. Rest in pieces. But basically, it's Sami Zayn backstage. Sami Zayn's backstage. Having a bitch fit because he doesn't believe that SmackDown or WWE should give any time or TV time or any segments to the Gingerbread Man and the funeral of the Gingerbread Man, and basically saying that it's a mockery and Trick is just not taking things serious, especially with being the U.S. champion. And it just shows a variety of different talent in the back room. You had Ray Phoenix. You had a moment with outside of Ray Phoenix. You had a moment where R-Truth comes in and starts messing with Sammy. So even I think there was a spot where they had Johnny Gargano and Johnny Gargano moved tonight. I know that's later on in the segments, but he moved tonight, even though Candice LeRae didn't see it. Johnny Gargano moved, and I believe Johnny Wrestling is going to be making a return very, very soon. And I hope so because he needs the U.S. title around his waist or the Intercontinental title. But what he's doing on SmackDown, I would like to see him with the U.S. title real, real soon. And I don't mind if he takes it off a Trick or if he took it off of Sammy or anything else. But after that, we pivot to, Rhea, Charlotte, and Alexa. And, of course, it's the Can I Trust You angle with Rhea and Charlotte. But hold on. I got a child playing loud music and don't know how to be quiet sometimes. But anyways, we have them doing the best friend frenemy angle of Charlotte and Rhea not really being the best of friends or really trusting each other. So it's a situation of, all right, what are we going to do about this situation? Of can we do this tag team together? But truthfully, I'm just waiting for us to get Charlotte and Rhea one on one. I would love to see that again because y'all already know how I feel. I don't care for Charlotte. I mean, not Charlotte. I don't care for Rhea Ripley having this title right now. Like I'm not a fan of it. I don't care for it right now. It should be on Jade, and that's just my opinion. And if you don't like it, bite me. But after we get out of that, we go to R-Truth and Damian Priest. And Damian Priest basically telling R-Truth don't come out to the ring because him being a part of the Judgment Day and being a mastermind of the numbers games knows that if R-Truth comes out there with him had just getting hurt last week, that basically the MFTs would target him and he basically just sit and duck because his arm is messed up. And R-Truth is like, I'm your tag team partner. I need to be out there. It don't matter what's going on, but he still ends up staying back. So our next match of the night is Tala Tonga versus Damian Priest. And in that match, it was actually a good big man match for the most part. It's just crazy how tall Tala Tonga is versus the rest of the talent. I would really like to see Tala Tonga versus Omos. But hopefully that we might get that big man match in the future because we know we're not getting Braun because they can't pay his ass. But outside of that, of course, there was interference from the MFTs with Solo and Tama Tonga, and in having that interference, R-Truth comes out, he gets himself involved. And then by getting himself involved, he also gets his ass beat up a little bit. I mean, that sounded crazy, but it's him, not me. So he gets beat up, and then Tala Tonga ends up winning the match with the big choke slam that he has. And after the match, Damian's down, and R-Truth is there, and they're looking to jump R-Truth. And of course, who comes to the rescue? Powerhouse. No, I'm just playing. Mr. Royce Keys himself comes down and gives aid, but it's kind of in a situation where it looks like he could have easily flipped, or he could, just stay his course and help out. So he ended up staying his course and helping out with R-Truth and Damian Priest. Oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all. If y'all hear that in the background, I apologize for that tonight because I got a choir kid. I'm a father of a theater kid that likes wrestling, so that's life right now for me. But it's always something random. But after we get out of that, we have a vignette of them talking about Danhausen tonight and him having to find a mystery partner. Of course, after seeing that Shane O'Mac has been moved to the active roster, my idea is that it's going to be Shanehausen and Danhausen versus The Miz and Kit Wilson. And we're doing that, it's going to be great because it renews the rivalry when Shane McMahon was the general manager of SmackDown, and him and Miz had some good matches and some great storylines and things. So I hope it's him. If it's not him, I couldn't tell you who I think the special person is, because we know it's not John Cena, because he's not taking no more bumps for the rest of his career in life, because he's done wrestling. So I'm curious to see who it could be, but I'm really thinking that it's going to be Shane McMahon. So after that, we have a segment with Nick Aldis, Gunther, and Paul Heyman. And it's basically Paul Heyman doing his favor that he has for Gunther, which is getting him getting him the WWE Championship title match and being moved to SmackDown. But while doing that, the TV behind Nick Aldis is on, and who comes out? Nobody but Cody Rhodes comes out, and Gunther is pissed because it's supposed to be his TV time, ring time, And Cody being a champion, doing what Cody does, he goes out to the ring and he doesn't care. So Gunther's highly upset, basically saying that's not how you do business, and did not sign the contract for the WWE Championship. So Cody's in the ring, and of course Paul Heyman comes out, and in the spat of things, Paul Heyman is telling Cody Rhodes, like, the only way championship matches work around here is that a contract is signed somehow, some way at some point in time. And the only way that they're going to have that match is if Cody gets Gunther to sign the contract on his own. So, and him doing that, Cody then goes down the line and was like, "Man, you done lost Brock on your watch. Roman don't want nothing to do with you. CM Punk done turned away from you. Seth Rollins don't deal with you." And it's basically like, who do you got left? And how do you word it? He was telling him who you got left, but basically Paul Heyman told him, like, "Hey, I'm not the one running out of resources or running out of people to work with or deal with." In a sense, basically saying that everybody at some point in time becomes a Paul Heyman guy. So that also can throw a wrench at things and make you wonder down the line, are we going to get a Paul Heyman Cody Rhodes story? Because you know how Cody Rhodes feels about Paul Heyman, especially with the things that Paul Heyman did for the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. So it's a lot of it's a lot of angles that WWE can go with. I just hope that the writers and Triple H look at things and be like, okay, this is how we can pivot certain things and make it happen. So I'm curious to see how that happens. But in doing that, with Paul Heyman leaving the ring, enters Gunther coming in and trying to sneak attack, but Cody is literally dodging all the chokeholds. He's hitting Gunther with the microphone. Gunther's thrown out the ring. He's hitting Gunther in the head. He's going back and forth with Gunther. They're having a spat. But he basically tells Gunther, "Hey, I'm easy to find on SmackDown, but I'm hard to beat." So I'm curious to see how that title match is going to go between the two of them when we actually get that title match. Then we pivot to the backstage area with Tama Tonga, and Solo Sikoa, and Tama Tonga inserting himself again, basically telling them he doesn't like how Royce Keys basically punked them, made them look bad because they were out there and they basically end up leaving the ring. So he doesn't like it. And truth be told, he really doesn't like it because Solo's really trying to add Royce Keys to the MFTs, and the MFTs are supposed to be family. They're supposed to be blood or of the Fatu, the bloodline. So it's a power struggle. So Tama is like, fuck it, I'm gonna go get me a match. So they're going to have a match later on in that night. But then we have Matt Cardona and Ricky Saints. Truth be told, I feel like some of the NXT call-ups that have come in this wave would probably be some good pivotal pieces to bring the next crowd up, because SmackDown is starting to be that show. And with them being that show, and if they stay 3 hours, they have plenty of potential to shine a lot of light on NXT and also new talent, because we still got Carmelo Hayes that got to come back, especially from injury or if it's from him getting married. I haven't dug deep into that. But Ricky Saints ended up beating Matt Cardona. And truth be told, I feel like Matt Cardona is just happy to just be back in WWE no matter what. And the fact that him being gone for so long, but now he has a chance to work with his wife, but he also has a chance to put over a lot of new talent, and he has been doing that since the John Cena Invitational. So I'm really curious to see what's going on, because I know Mike Cardona is going to do what he needs to do to keep a contract, and he's going to do whatever he wants to do to stay with WWE as long as him and his wife are there. But yeah, Ricky Saints ended up winning that match with the Rochambeau. And then we go into another backstage segment with Sami Zayn and the Gingerbread Man. I'm not going to keep getting into all that stuff because there was a lot of those segments tonight. Then we also had Blake Monroe video coming in. And with that video, I'm like, okay, it's the same kind of image and glam and stuff that they did for her in NXT. But with this being SmackDown, I'm curious to see how it goes, especially with already having Tiffany Stratton, with having Lash Legend, Nia Jax, Alexa, Charlotte, Rhea, also Fatal Influence, with Fallon Henley, Lainey Reed, and JC Jane, with Julia, Kiana James. Like, they are stacked with the women's division on SmackDown, which is great because they also get a lot of shine. You actually get to see a lot of them be utilized better than they are on Raw. But now we have Brie Bella, Paige come out, and they have their segment. But that segment is also interrupted by Fatal Influence, and them basically saying that SmackDown is about to be theirs and how they're about to dominate and how they are going to take the tag titles, and then how they're going to take the tag titles, and they're going to take the women's heavyweight championship, not heavyweight championship, my bad. They're going to take the women's WWE championship off of Rhea Ripley as well. But instead of Rhea or anybody else coming out, we have Lash Legend and Nia Jax coming out and basically telling Fatal Influence they need to get to the back of the line because they don't earn their spot. They haven't been there, and it ain't for them to be there. And then they end up turning around and taking out Brie Bella and Paige, and Lash hits the last extension on Brie Bella. So after that, Nia Jackson and them leave the ring, and then enters Rhea and Charlotte and Alexa coming down for the 6-woman tag match, or now they like to call it the trios match. I hate that shit because I don't like the other place. So yeah, not a fan of that. But the trios match goes, and Fatal Influence ends up winning because Jade Cargill came back finally. We know she was out because her husband got inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Cincinnati Reds 2 weeks ago or a week ago. So she was gone for that. So this is the first time we've seen Jade Cargill since WrestleMania. And she basically interferes and takes Rhea off the apron, which allows JC James to hit, is it the Rolling? Whatever her finisher is, she was able to hit it and get a win. So as of right now, Fatal Influence has gotten a DQ match, and they have gotten 2 wins over very prominent legends, as in JC Jane pinning Charlotte Flair, and now JC Jane has pinned Alexa Bliss. So after the match, Charlotte comes in, but Michin and B-Fab take her out, and then Rhea takes out B-Fab, but gets caught by, I believe, Michin. And it just basically ended up being Jade Cargill and her faction standing strong over Rhea, Charlotte, and Alexa Bliss. So now we get our Tama Tonga versus Royce Keys match. And the biggest thing is whenever Tama Tonga steps out and wants to get revenge or enact or do something, Solo Sikoa is always like, hey, if he wants to go do it on his own, let him do it on his own. We're not going to help. We're not going to interfere. We're not going to do nothing, which is the same thing that he would flip in reverse. So in this match, of course, it ends up being Royce Keys winning with the spine buster. I forgot what they call it, but I'm like, you can just call it a spine buster. You don't have to give it a super name just because it's Royce Keys. Just call it a spine buster and be done with it. Big shot. Sorry. Playoffs is on too. I got a lot going on. I got ADHD and I just be multitasking and doing shit. So don't mind me. So after the match, we get Shinsuke Nakamura back on TV, which I'm happy about because that means he's not in budget cuts right now. So we get Shinsuke Nakamura back, and basically him telling him how he's disappointed in Tama Tonga because he's basically still following up under Solo Sikoa and being basically up under him versus being the single star that Shinsuke believes he knows that he can be. And basically Tama Tonga comes in and tells him, stop talking to my brother or we're going to have problems. And then we go from that to the segment of the motherfucking night. And this segment, I've been waiting to talk about this shit because I'm like, Trick Williams is him. Like, we talk about Melo being him. We talk about all the other different talent that is on SmackDown right now. Truth be told, Trick Williams with the WWE Undisputed title is money, because Trick can go do interviews with the white mink coat. He can go do any and everything. But what solidifies him being him is the fact that they gave this man the main event spot to have a funeral for the Gingerbread Man. And we had a song, a choir, we got an oak casket, we got flowers and roses. And when I tell you, it didn't have to be your typical super beat down at the end of the night. It didn't have to be pure chaos, but it was chaos because, of course, Sami Zayn, the original Gingerbread Man, intervened and interjected himself, and doing that, basically telling Trick Williams how he's basically not taking things serious and it's a disgrace, and that the main event spot was prestigious. It held, it had. I was trying to use my $5 words, but the $5 words wasn't working. But basically, it had a lot of prestige, and it had a lot of allure to the fact that the main event spot was for the top talent. But what it really is showing that Trick Williams can handle himself in the main event spotlight, because his first match on SmackDown was in the main event. So he is very capable in showing that he is one of those stars that can rise to the top real fast, real quick, and can hold his own. But Sami Zayn ended up telling him, how he's just basically not doing the title justice, and how when he had the title, it was more prestigious. It meant more. It was a lot of different things. So it ended up being him talking about Trick don't play by my money, but yet you spending money on oak caskets, roses, a lot of different things. But he ends up taking a shot at Trick Williams, ends up knocking him down, ends up beating him up, taking the title, holding the title to his face in the corner, and just basically telling him he's going to take the title off of him tomorrow in Tampa at Backlash. And lo and behold, um, we had a dead doe rising in the Gingerbread Man, rising from the dead to come up and get his revenge on Sammy Gingerbread Man Zayn. And it was none other than Lil Yachty rising out of the casket in a gingerbread suit with the candy cane kendo stick, and begins to lay it to Sami Zayn. Now, I don't know if Lil Yachty don't go to the gym and his shoulders just ain't that good, or if he don't know how to really throw a kendo stick shot. But I believe if he would have just hit that kendo stick shot and just went over the head with it and swung, it would have made for better TV. But we ended the night with a trick shot, and I am very happy when Trick Williams is always on top, especially of the Gingerbread Man. That was Sami Zayn. So I'm excited to see what comes out of Trick Williams and Sami Zayn, but I'm more also interested to see what's going on with this PLE. Since WrestleMania season is over, we complained about a lot of different things, how talent was used, how shows were booked. But as of right now, from what I remember seeing, we got a solid book show for Backlash. And with that show, we get I'm trying to see if they posted all of the matches, but off the top of my head, I know we have Io and Asuka fighting. I know we have Roman and Jacob. I know we have Danhausen, a mystery opponent, versus The Miz and Kit Wilson. I know we have Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. And I'm trying to figure out what the other one is off the top of my head, and I can't. But what I do know is that the first hour of the PLE will actually be on ESPN2. So I see what they're doing in the sense of putting everything on the ESPN network, where I'll give you an hour free. Whatever happens in an hour happens in an hour. But if you want to continue to watch the rest of the show, you got to download the app. So that's their way of getting people to download the ESPN app to do um, everything they're doing for Backlash. So I'm trying to see if I'm trying to get the rest of the card if I can real quick, so we can see who all the matches are going to be tomorrow. If they posted it or not, I don't know if they did, but I don't see it right now. But as of right now, those are the matches I do recall and I do remember. Well, hold on, wait. We got Seth and Braun. We got Io and Asuka. We have Roman and Jacob. We have Trick and Sammy. So we got a decent card as far as all the matches that are going on for Backlash. But this has been the SmackDown Lowdown, which number one player, Mr. Teddy Lemon Pepper Step alone. So do what you do best, but always keep them booking pins sharp and check in with us on Sunday for the Sunday Night Stunner. The Booking Championship is on the line. I'm going for I'm still haven't won yet, but I'm going for it because I got a lot of haters like Virgil that don't want me to win. But it's okay because I'm shooting my shots because he ain't here and I do what I want to on my show. So until next time, to all my players and my player haters, peace.